guys, how you going? So today on BKRsport, we are back for another draft, man. Loving this series. I think we've only got a couple more to go, man. We've been absolutely pumping it, and it's such a good series because it really brings you back over the years throughout all these teams and reminds you of some great players in the past, some great players right now, and, you know, putting them all together and obviously competing as well. You know, we do obviously go up against another content creator. Now, obviously, Sharkies fans, I've got to say this to you. You don't have a content creator specifically. Like, there's no actual specific Sharks creator. You need to get someone to really come out here and pump it home for your team, just like what I do for the Titans and what other people do for their teams. So today, we've got one of my arch rivals, my nemesis when it comes to the draft game. He's beaten me multiple times. He's slapped up Rando and Clarky and myself. And gee whiz, I've got to watch him today. His name is the Rugby League Guru. How we going, man?
I'm good, mate. Thanks for having me on once again. Yeah, I've got a pretty proud record in the draft arena against you. So, and I'll be honest with you, I accepted this challenge and thought, oh, yeah, this will be sweet. And then I had a quick look through the Sharkies this morning, and they're one of the tougher sides, obviously only winning that one premiership recently, and then having, you know, historically a lot of champion players, but a lot of champion players that our audience probably isn't aware of or isn't aware of just how talented they were. So it's always hard with these things, trying to pick a side that people will vote for, because people need to be aware of just how good those sort of guys were.
Well, absolutely, man. And that's what we've seen throughout this series so far, is that, like, it is a real tough mix, especially when you get like the Dragons as well, who obviously had the 1960s and whatnot, or 50s, where they just dominated for 10 years. Most people, don't know who those guys were. But as you'll see today, like, yeah, there is a lot of great players from the past that didn't win a premiership, but then I put stats up on the screen, so at least they'll get at least a glimpse of what they're known for when they're back in the 70s and 80s and whatnot. But yeah, no, it's exciting, man, because, you know, it all comes down to perspective at the end of the day, and it is all good fun. But, you know, I'm sure that everyone does know who you are, but if they don't, let them know who you are.
Rugby League Guru. I got the Instagram page, TikTok, all that sort of drivel. Rugby League Guru podcast. On Bloke in a Bar on a Monday on the review show there, which is always good fun. And yeah, mate, you know me, I'm like you. I'm a fucking rugby league desperate, so you'll find me everywhere that you want some rugby league stuff.
Yeah, exactly right. You can't get enough rugby league. So, no, it's good stuff. And it does obviously give you guys plenty of information about the season. So definitely go and check him out. The description will be where his links are. But all right, let's get into a couple of rules here, though. Let's get into a couple of rules of how it does go. Because as I said to you guys, I did the Storm draft with the Guru once before. He slapped me. And then we also did a current draft with Guru, Ram Stats guy, and Clarky, and he just went bang bang with the kind of mix up, just mixing players into positions that you kind of wouldn't normally, well, you would put them in, but they're not in that position. So he knows what he's doing here. I think that he's just trying to get me off guard by saying that he's a bit concerned about today's one. But overall, it's going to be fun, because whoever goes first will then go fourth. So whoever goes second will go second and third. It's a snake draft. I can confirm with the Guru here that he will be going first. Can you confirm?
Yeah, we had the spin the wheel before and came up with a chicken dinner, so we'll take it.
Exactly right. Yeah, no, Guru loves that one. So he'll be going first. Obviously, once a player gets selected, guys, the other person cannot take them. This is all time throughout Cronulla Sharks history, and I think that's pretty much it. 127 plus coach will come up on the screen for you guys, and I reckon we're ready to rock and roll. So guys, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you are new around here, and let's get going. Guru, you're up for one.
Mate, I've made a decision, as I said before. It worries me a little bit with a team like the Sharkies, whether you go for, you know, a team of currents that people will vote for, or if you just pick your genuine best 17 of all time. I'm leaning towards just picking my absolute best 17 I possibly can, and hopefully people can just appreciate the old players. I was actually looking at a Sharkies best 17 just before for the NRL era, and I looked at it and I noticed, and this is with all due respect to this guy, but I noticed that Toby Rudolph got a bait on the bench, and I just sort of looked at it and went, yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not quite sure how that plays out. I can't bench forward in their team, making their best 17 wild. But the Sharkies are a bit of an interesting side like that. With all that taken in, mate, my first pick, I'm going to pick a centre. I'm going to take Steve Rogers.
Oh, you're taking Stevie Rogers. Yep. There's two big centres there.
Big ones there, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I like that, though. Stevie Rogers was a phenomenal player.
And for those at home, Steve Rogers, you know, by the older generation, considered to be like, should be an immortal sort of guy. And you go back and watch his tapes, and even though it is, 40, 50 years ago, I still reckon he moves better than just about anyone I've ever seen. An incredible footballer.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I can't disagree with that one. And to be completely honest with you, I think we both know who I'm going to be going straight up here. So that one, you don't get the centre pairing of a lifetime, but also he's one of the most successful Sharkies without the premiership, which really does suck because he was such a phenomenal player. And that's Andrew Eddinghausen. Yep. So I'm going to have to chuck him into my centres. Look, I think that's a kind of interesting start because usually you don't go for those centres straight away. It's usually a spine player or whatnot. But the two best centres on the board, they go first. All right, well, where do I go now? That's a great question. That's a really, really good question. You know what? I'm actually going to go into my 9 here. I'm going to go into my 9 because I don't think the depth is incredible at the club. And I'm going to take a premiership winning 9 for the Sharkies. It's going to be Michael Ennis. And I'm going to put him into my 9.
Yeah, nice pick. And you're right. The depth there at 9 is a little bit questionable. About that. All right. Do I have 2 up my sleeve now?
You've got 2 up your sleeve. Don't hurt me too much.
Okay. My first pick here, and geez, I'm going to have a very old school side, so I hope people can appreciate it. But one of the guys that I appreciate most in rugby league history, obviously not a premiership winner, but played 300 games across the NRL and the Super League during sort of the 70s and the 80s. A guy that he actually won 2 Dally M medals back-to-back. He also won a Man of Steel over there. I think he genuinely is the best ball playing forward we've ever seen. We just don't have enough tape of him. Gavin Miller, I'm going to take in the second row. I think probably in the modern game, he would be more suited to jersey 13. Yeah. He would absolutely fucking dominated. He was an unbelievable player, Gavin Miller, and I think he is regularly forgotten in rugby league history when we talk about the greats. So Gavin Miller, absolutely stoked to get my
I agree. I've got him at the top of my second row board. I thought that was the big time pick there for sure.
Yeah, love that one. So Gavin Miller in the second row. Very happy with that. Mate, I am going to take a fullback. Actually, mate, I'm going to bolster my forward pack again. And, obviously when they won the comp 2016, obviously the biggest moment in the club's history. And Paul Gallen really was the face of that. So I'm going to take him in jersey 13, Paul Gallen.
That's a sneaky one because I was just about to go Paul Gall. And then when you said fullback, my eyes kind of lit up. And then you went to the old Paul G train. And, that's a great selection there. Paul Gallen is a massive, massive part of their history. And, people obviously look at they don't look at the quality that he brought a lot of the time. They look at the record with Origin and whatnot, and it's like they meme it, and it's just it's ridiculous. Like, one, he's in Origin, too. He was just such a phenomenal player for the Sharkies and then led them to that premiership. So I don't think that he gets the respect that he probably deserves, to be completely honest with you.
Completely agree.
All right, so we've got 2 selections now. I'm actually... Oh, do I go there? Yeah, you know what? I'm actually going to go and try and get the best winger on the board here and partner him up with Andrew Eddinghausen. I'm going to take Matty Rogers. Obviously, one of my guys too. Get around Matty Rogers. But he was absolutely electric, and I can't have you having Steve Rogers and Matt Rogers on a centre wing there. So I'll go Matty. Now, do I look to continue going on my spine? Yeah, look, I am going to do it. I'm going to take David Peachey. I'm going to put him into the fullback there. I actually think that they've got quite a few fullbacks over time, but I just think that David Peachey is the guy that has probably was the most successful tenure besides, 2016, but David Peachey was there for a very long time.
Yeah, no, very good shout. I genuinely considered him as my last pick till I went Gal, so like that. Mate, my 2 picks. I've got a couple of old timers in there, so I'm gonna take. I think the 2 guys, the 2 best guys available that people will know in 2 key positions. I'm gonna pick my halves, mate. I'm gonna take Brett Kimmorley at halfback, and I'm gonna go for James Maloney at 5'8". Locked in.
I knew James Maloney was definitely happening there as soon as you said Brett Kimmorley, but yeah, no, that is a great couple of selections there. James Maloney is a bona fide winner. He improves every team, man. He was at multiple teams and just continuously improves the team significantly. And I think he's one of the most underrated players of all time, James Maloney. Yeah. And then Brett Kimmorley, he was fantastic for the Sharkies. All right. So he's just gone with a bang there. I'm I know you're not going to. I don't think you're going to take the guy. Oh, I kind of do need to make sure that I get him. I'm going to take the other. I have to make sure. I'm going to take the other halfback here on the board, and that's Tommy Bishop. He's a guy from back in the day. The halfback position isn't exactly deep either, but I actually did have Tommy Bishop as my number one halfback on the board. He was an incredible player with the Sharkies in their early days, and as you guys can see the stats on the board here, he's definitely. I didn't want Guru to take him to 14 because I know this guy. I know this man. He knows his rugby league, so I just was a little bit concerned that he could do that. And then my next selection, I'm going to have to go into my forwards now because I haven't even looked at a forward really just yet. Besides McInnes, I'm going to go into my front row, and I'm going to take Dane Sorensen. Dane Sorensen, absolute monster for the Sharkies, and I'm definitely not complaining with that pick.
Yeah, love that one. I think it's a very good grab. Okay. Now, mate, as you know, with drafts, I like to go a little bit rogue at times.
Yeah.
I like to pick guys a little bit out of position that I think people will enjoy. And I'm going to go for another modern day guy that I think people will like this pick. I'm going to go for Nicho Hynes.
Yep.
I'm going to pick him at fullback.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Surprising. But like I have Nicho Hynes on my board, but I was thinking more like a 14 or a 5'8".
Yeah, I think get him into the starting side, get as many of your best players as you can in the starting 13 is the way to go with these sort of things. So Nicho Hynes, obviously, he's done his best work at the Sharkies playing halfback, but we've seen him play fullback at the Melbourne Storm and how dominant he can be. So I'm going to go with Hynes at fullback, which leaves me with one more pick to go through here. I am going to go for... interesting. I am going to go for... I'm going to go on the wing, mate. I'm going to pick Val Holmes there.
Yeah, he was next on my board. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Val Holmes when he was at the Sharkies, but he was just absolutely not. And that's when he was like the intercept king. He was like Stephen Crichton back then. All he would do was just take intercepts galore, and then he did it in Queensland as well. So yeah, Val Holmes, great selection there. All right, so I might continue to look towards my forwards here. I'm going to take my next front row as well. Yeah, I'm going to take the guy that the Sharks fans absolutely adore because he was a major part of them winning their first premiership, and that was Andrew Fafita. Andrew Fafita, scored that barnstorming try that got him over the line, and I think a front row pairing of Dane Sorensen and Andrew Fafita, you got to love that one. And then we've still got. I could put him into that area. No, okay. So I'm actually going to go back into. Damn, I'm a little bit confused right now where I'm going to go. I think someone from the new age, from this team right this very second, actually could fit quite well into a team of the all-time greats. And I think that if you're playing these two teams against each other, I think this guy would kill it. I'm going to take Britton Nakora, and I'm going to put him into the back row.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, very underrated, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Just such an attacking weapon.
Yeah, I like that. Good gear.
You're up.
Is that two for you or one?
That's two for me. I'll take another one if you want to give me another one.
No.
You're up now.
You've had too many already. I'm going to go in the back row, mate. I'm going to go Greg Pearce, legend of the club. I've got a pretty old school back row there. You wouldn't want to run into him in a dark alley. I'll tell you that much for free. Pearce, Miller, Gallen. Very happy with that. Okay. Now, you've already taken for Feeder, which was a nice little pick there. I thought I might have been a sniff of getting my pause on him. Mate, is Dane Sorensen on the board still, or did you take him?
You wish Dane Sorensen was still on the board. He is gone. He went about 30 years ago.
Yeah, good gear. Well done. Okay. What am I going to do here? I need to find front row forwards. It's tough. Mate, I'm going to take a guy that's I probably ideally would have had him in my starting side, but I'm going to pick him just on my bench just because I think he's too good to leave on the board for any longer. I'm going to take Luke Lewis on my bench.
That's
Luke
exactly
Lewis,
what I was thinking.
In jersey 15. Very happy to get my pause on him.
I would have actually considered chucking him as my 14, Luke Lewis. That's who, because he played at the Panthers, he played wing, he played center, he played everywhere, man. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I've got another one in mind for my 14.
Oh, all right. Well, I've got to be careful
now
there.
that you've sort of lifted the lid on it a little bit, I might take him now to lock him in. And I know
didn't you take Greg Pierce? So isn't it my go now?
Did sorry, yeah. Off you go.
Gee whiz, look at him go. He's trying to sneak 3 picks here. All right. So I've got 2 to go here. Oh my God, that actually does kind of. Oh, there's a guy there that now I'm a little bit nervous he's going to take the 14. I had 3 guys to chuck into the 14. It was Nico Hines and it was Luke Lewis and then somebody else. So now I'm getting a little bit nervous. At that one. All right. So we'll go into. I'm going to go into my lock. Because I don't want you to take him onto your bench. I'm going to take Tefera Nakal. This guy was an absolute machine for the Sharkies, and he was such a danger. Like the way that he runs the ball was just absolutely electric, man. I loved him for a lock. Like obviously Paul Gallen was the number 1 lock there, but Tefera Nakal was just an absolute machine when it came to the Sharkies. So I'll chuck him into my 13. And now do I? Because it might not be the 14 that you're thinking of. That's the only issue here. That's the only issue. Let me get
your head, mate. You just do your own thing.
No, I'm telling you, you're always in my head with these drafts. All right, so I'm going to. Oh, there's plenty of position for that one. Yeah, I'm actually going to go back into my front row. Like I'm going to go into the front row on the bench, and I'm going to take Les Davidson, an absolute machine, onto my bench.
Yeah, nice.
Especially considering you've still got your 2 front rowers still open.
Yeah. Still got my two front rowers that I need to find guys for, which isn't ideal, but not a. Yeah, we can deal with that. Am I up now?
You are up now. Yes.
Up. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to take that jersey 14. I'm going to lock in here. I had a few guys in mind, but I also know, obviously, you're a big Titans guy.
No way, Guru. You're not going to do this. No.
Have the opportunity to kick someone in the dick. I always take it. So, jersey 14. What was his name again, mate?
It's Preston Campbell. Preston Campbell. He got my head. My head.
Yeah, we'll take Presto. We'll take him jersey 14. This front row forward battle and hooker battle is starting to look a little bit grim. I'm not gonna lie. There is another guy out there that I think would be a very good 14 still to be grabbed, but he's obviously not a Titans legend.
Who do you reckon that one is? So what are you thinking?
Well, I'm not going to grab him, and if you happen to leave him on the board, I think that's a win for me. So I might take a vow of silence here. But and mate, from my draft experience previously, I reckon you are every chance to leave him on the board.
Unbelievable. So first he gives me a gut punch with Preston Campbell, then he insults my draft experience. Unbelievable, this guy. You've still got one more pick.
Yeah, I'm here to fuck around. Okay. I am going to take what am I going to do here? I'm going to go into my centers, and I'm going to pick a guy that he probably didn't play. Well, he didn't play his absolute best footy for Cronulla, but he was just a great at the game and one that I've got so much time for. I'm going to take in the centers, Josh Morris.
Joshy Morris. Yeah, I did have him on my board here. Yeah, he didn't play his best footy there, but at the end of the day, like he was still
footy there. But he was. Yeah, he's an absolute gun. I love him.
Yeah, no, I agree with that one. Josh Morris has been selected in multiple drafts as well. I think obviously doggies and stuff like that. So no, absolute machine of a player. All right, so I'm up for 2 now after the Guru did. I knew exactly he was going to do that. Why didn't I just take him? But gee whiz. All right. Okay. Well, I might start to. I might have to look at my wing. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a guy, and I believe this is when I was growing up. I believe he was just an unbelievable kicker for the Sharkies as well, and was just an unbelievable winger for the Sharks in the 2000s days. I'm going to take Luke Cavell. Lukey Cavell, and I'm going to put him onto the wing.
Luke Cavell.
No, underrated selection, that one. Lukey Cavell. And then I don't even have to. I'm not going to take my 14 selection until the very last pick, just because of it. Yeah, I've still got selections there in the 5'8" department. I'm going to go back to my back row here. I should look to lock up another spot, and I'm going to take. Oh, should I do that? Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Wade Graham. I think that he's been an absolute servant to the Sharkies, and him and Britton Nakora will absolutely do a job down the back row. So I'll take Wade Graham.
Now, mate, before we did this draft, you said to me, "Do you want me to explain the rules to you?" And I said, "No, no, no. I know I'm inside out." I've got a question about the rules.
Okay.
Am I able to move positions of a guy I've picked, or do they have to stay where they are now?
We've actually never done that before. So we've usually just once they've been selected, they've stayed there. I guess it's yeah. Look, you know what? You know what? You can do it. Actually, no. You know what? No. You know what? Because I know what you're probably going to do, and you're probably going to sneak around with my 14, and you're going to make sure that I don't get the guy that no, Guru. We've never done it before. No,
Can't be done.
It's been selected. You've selected your team, Guru. Oh, you know what? Go for it. You can do what you want.
You gonna allow me to make some moves?
I'll allow you to make one move and one move only.
One move. And you know what? I'll do the right thing by you. I will not touch Preston Campbell. Okay, won't touch him. What I'm going to do, and this is probably a little bit controversial, but I actually respect your play of getting Michael Ennis early because it has kind of fucked me at hooker. So I've had to think a little bit outside the square. So what I'm going to do, I am going to move Brett Kamali to hooker. As we all know, played it occasionally at hooker, but I think he's probably the most suited guy to playing 9 out of that side. And at halfback, mate, I'm going to pick Sean Johnson.
Oh, okay. Look, I'm okay with it. It's just an interesting play. Obviously, it will come down to what Sharkies fans, I guess, think of his time there because he wasn't at his best there. But at the same sense, he still was Sean Johnson there, just not what he did last year.
Yeah. So, I'm going to take a bit of a punt there and go a little bit rogue and move guys around. So, Sean Johnson will be the first player I pick this round. My next one, Jesus Christ, I need to lock in a front row forward. This is getting grim. Mate, I'm going to go for Jason Stevens.
Jason Stevens, yeah, he was a machine. He did some good work with the Dragons as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He did good work for a long time. I actually thought he did his best work on the footy show with Trent the Flight Stewart, to be honest with you. That was my favourite memories by far and away.
Yeah, well, Jason Stevens, man, that's a flashback. There we go. All right, into the front row. So he's got his first front rower. There you go. Guru finally got on the board there. All right, well, I want to keep going to my bench here at the moment. I do want to keep going to my bench. I'm looking at my 16, and listen, you took my Presto, you took my magic, you took my heart in Preston Campbell. So I'm going to take another Titan here who was just another absolute meter eater, and he actually would have, and I think he might have the record for consecutive games played. But also, if it wasn't for certain situations at Cronulla at the time, he would have definitely had the record for just consistent games played. So I'm going to take Lukey Douglas. I'm going to chuck him on the bench here. Another front rower to my bench is absolutely bolster that up. Do you like a bit of Lukey Douglas?
Yeah, I do, mate. Obviously, he just played so many games of football, didn't he?
You couldn't stop him, mate.
It was insane. Yeah. Well, so he ended up going to the Titans, and he ended up making the record, didn't he? Or
I think there was he might have. We'll put it on the screen. The screen will have it, but there might have been still the issue that kind of hampered it with the certain situation that we won't talk about. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. But Luke Douglas is just a man machine who just absolutely crushed it for the Sharkies and for the Titans, and he stole my Presto, so I've got to do it. All right, so I've got one more selection here. And I think I should look towards like a back row on the bench, to be completely honest with you, because I've got 2 front rowers there. And there is a couple of guys. Oh, that's a controversial selection if I did it. No, I don't think Sharks fans would really go for it. I'm going to go for Anthony Tupou here, and I'm going to put him on my bench.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, bit of Anthony Tupou. You're up for 2.
I am going to pick my other front row forward. I'm going to go for, I believe, to be one of the most underrated players in that premiership winning side. I'm going to go for Matty Pryor.
Yeah, Matt Pryor. Yeah, he's on my board.
And mistake me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
I'm going to go for the player that I think you were just considering picking because I fucking love him. I'm going to go for Greg Bird on the bench, and I love to pick another one of your Titans boys and put him in my side.
That was exactly who I was thinking about there.
I thought it was, yeah.
Yeah, obviously, and I'm okay with you taking it there, man. And I think he deserves to be. I think he absolutely deserves to be selected. I just think that obviously his time at Cronulla was really shaded, and he's unbelievable. Back rower, lock, everything. There's just that kind of thing with the Sharks. Like, I know in Titans draft, people love him on the Gold Coast. Just maybe the Cronulla, there's a little bit of a 50-50, but I do love that selection. So there you go, Matty Prine and Greg Bird. All right, so I've got my 14. I've got my coach still there. I'm going to have to do it. Now, there is coaches in the past. There's actually been, and I told this to Mum when I was doing this, I said there's actually been some amazing coaches in the Sharks history. They just weren't able to win. It was really crazy. But I am going to take the one who has won, the guy who won in 2016. That is Shane Flanagan as my coach. He's the only premiership winner in this club. So I will take the old Shane Flano. And then we've got still our 14, our 4, and our 6. You've still got a 5, so I should still go to my centre here. Yeah, I'm going to take a guy that when he was at the Sharkies, I don't know if people will like it a great deal right this very second because he's not at the Sharks, but when he was there, I'm taking Jackie Bird. Jack Bird in the centres was a part of their premiership winning team, and he was a dominating centre, man. So I'll take him in the centres alongside ET.
No, I like that pick. That's good gear there. Very, very good. Okay.
You're right. Are you going to take Ricky Shield as the coach?
No, mate. I'll be honest with you. I had Flano written down earlier, and I thought, I'll go early on Flano, and then I thought, you know what? There's another coach that I consider to be a top 2 coach of all time who actually coached the Sharkies. So
yeah, I know who you're talking
about. Take him a little bit later, and I think people will sort of split hairs on them, so I'm okay with that. What I'm going to do though on my wing, and another one that a lot of the guys I've picked, they're great players, but they haven't had they wouldn't have had the most successful stints with the actual Sharkies. So I'm sort of just picking the best team I can get on paper, and we'll see how we go. You know, I like to do these things a little bit different. Mm-hmm. So my winger, I'm going to take a rep winger who, without a doubt, played his best football outside of Cronulla. And I think Cronulla fans probably aren't the biggest fans of him, but I'm going to go for Blake Ferguson.
Blake Ferguson. I don't think he was awful at the Sharkies, but I agree he did his best work elsewhere. But yeah, it's not a bad shout. I do have
a vague memory of him walking out of Cronulla saying, "I'm leaving because I want to win a premiership," though.
I forgot about that.
I'm sure they're probably not the biggest fans in the world of Fergo, but yeah, for just getting an out-and-out winger, I will happily take him there.
I completely forgot about that. Yeah, that was funny because then he went to Canberra, and then I believe the Sharks won a premiership before. Did Blake Ferguson ever win a premiership?
At the Roosters, yeah, 2018.
2018. Well, it's still 2 years after the Sharkies, so I remember that. Yeah, Blake was he walked out of the club saying, "I'm leaving because I don't think they'll win a premiership." And then the Sharks win the premiership in 2016. It was comedic gold. Yeah, comedic gold. Do you have one more selection, or is that?
Yes, I do. So I need another middle. I need another bench guy. I got Luke Lewis. I got Greg Bird, Preston Campbell. I need a front row forward. I'm just thinking.
Toby Rudolph.
Yeah, Toby Rudolph, of course, made that side that I was looking at before that blew my mind. Who am I going to go for here? I might go for. Have you taken Martin Lang? Have you taken Martin Lang yet?
I have not taken Martin Lang.
I'm going to take Marty Lang just because I appreciate a guy that runs like a fucking bobblehead and never stops. I absolutely loved watching Marty Lang play his football. You could just tell growing up he was never the most talented, but he just went the hardest and he was the fucking toughest. So I will happily take Marty Lang.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with that one. Marty Lang was an absolute machine, man. Absolute tough machine. So I like that pick. All right, I got 2 final selections, and I will go into my 6 here first up, just because obviously I'm going to wait on that 14 spot just to see. I'm going to go Mitch Healy here for the Sharkies. I think he's the next best on the board. I do think that James Maloney was the guy, but Mitch Healy, he was a big part of the late 90s, early 2000s, I believe it was, and yeah, he definitely looked very much like a Shire boy, Mitchy Healy. So Mitch Healy and Tommy Bishop, that's a bit of an older pairing, but I do like it. And then the 14. All right, here is the big old play here. I've been looking at a guy this entire time thinking, hey, listen, he could be a really, really good shout to bring off in that fullback role. Actually, I'm going to read you through. I'm going to run you through my thoughts here. So there is a bit of Bennett Barber. There is a guy named Benjamin Barber. who could be put into that 14 role. Has played a bit of six, obviously won the Dally M as the fullback at the Doggies, won the premiership with the Sharkies as well. You know what? I'm not going to run you through it. I'm going to take Benny Barber as my 14.
Yeah, I assumed in that spot you had one of two bad boys in mind. I assumed Benny Barber or maybe TC. I thought might be another one to get a shot in there. Toddy Carney.
Oh, Todd Carney. Yeah. Todd Carney would have been a shout. I probably would have leaned with Benny Barber, but yeah, Todd Carney was a good shout.
I completely forgot about Ben Barber. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Good. All right. Do I have coach? Is that all I've got left?
Just your coach left.
All right. Beautiful. And yeah, as I said, obviously Flano, he's won the premiership there, no doubt in that. But I'm going to take Jack Gibson. Didn't win a comp there, but one of the most successful, if not the, probably only rivaled by Wayne realistically, and maybe Ivan, unless he starts to calm the fuck down over the next few years.
I don't know a draft that hasn't had Jack Gibson like in Sydney. Like Jack Gibson has obviously won it like everywhere in Sydney. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he did some serious yards, Jack Gibson, bounced around everywhere. So, Parramatta, Roosters, Sharkies, he was everywhere. So, yeah, I am more than happy to take Jack Gibson as my coach. And, mate, I think coming out of the Melbourne Storm draft, I was very confident I had you. Coming out of the NRL draft, I was very confident I had you 3 peanuts. This one I'm probably the most nervous about. I'm not sure how people are going to take my team.
Well, I think it's really interesting how both teams are kind of set up, man. Like we both got. It's really hard to mess up a draft. Like obviously, in the Storm one and also the one that we did with the four of us, it was very clear who the winner was. But with that being said, it's still decent teams. And with these two here, like there's a great battle in the fullback, David Peachey, Nicho Hynes. Well, actually, that's what we'll do. Go through your 1 through 17 plus coach, and then tell us your thoughts.
Okay, so I've got Nicho Hynes at fullback, playing him out of position, as you know I love to do on draft day. We have seen him play one and how dominant he was there. So Nicho Hynes at 1 on the wings. I've gone for Blake Ferguson, a little bit of a Rogosaurus there. But I just think when you look at the rest of his career and what he achieved and how good
he was. Do you reckon he'll stay with your team, or do you reckon he'll leave for a premiership?
He will probably leave for a premiership side. Wingers, Fergo and Val Holmes, obviously premiership winning hero there, Val Holmes. My centers I'm stoked with, man. Steve Rogers, I think he was my first pick from memory. Very happy to get Sludge there. And Josh Morris, a guy that I actually didn't really remember played for Cronulla until we started talking and then flashed back to me. So I was happy to get value on him. The rest of my spine is a little bit interesting. James Maloney at 6, obviously a slam dunk. Sean Johnson, obviously picked him late because I thought, you know what, I might play Brett Kamali at 9. He's probably more suited to playing hooker than anyone else in my side. And once you took Mick Ennis off the board, that made life very, very interesting. So Kamali at 9, SJ at 7, Paul Gallen obviously locks the scrum in 13. My forward pack, I'm pretty happy with, considering I didn't prioritize it wildly. Jason Stevens, Matt Pryor, and then my back row is unreal. Pierce, Miller, and obviously Paulie G at 13. My bench, 4 guys that I absolutely love as footballers: Preston Campbell and Greg Bird, 2 guys that went on to play for the Chargers or the fucking Finns.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah. Let's just kick the boot in, hey? Let's just kick the boot in, but I don't have him. Keep going.
And then Luke Lewis and Marty Lang there with Jack Gibson as the coach. So, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It all comes down to how people interpret my team. If people strictly look at Ferguson, Josh Morris, Sean Johnson, for example, for what they achieved at the Sharkies, I'm probably sunk. But if they just look at them as players as a whole, I reckon I'm a good sniff here. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting. I do love that back row pairing of Gavin Miller and Greg Pearce. I think that's a real day. And then the 13, Paul Gallen. That's a really good back row and 13 there. But all right, so I'll go through my team now. So the fullback, we had the David Peachey, man. That guy just would not stop playing. And he's one of the guys that if a Sharks fan brings up a guy from the past, it's always David Peachey. On the wings, he got, man, what a player. Matty Rogers, just so successful. And then Luke Cavell on the other wing with Andrew Eddinghausen and Jack Bird in the centres. Andrew Eddinghausen, this guy is, what did he play? 320 games? 310, 320 games or something like that? It was absurd, the amount of games he played, and is one of the best centres of all time. If you're taking an all-time draft, you probably are selecting Andrew Eddinghausen in your centres department there. You go into the halves, you got Mitch Healy and Tommy Bishop. Tommy Bishop is definitely back in the day, like the 60s, the early days. But he is definitely, for me, I actually had him as the best halfback on the board. Brett Connolly was second for mine. But it's a bit of a muchness depending on kind of what your viewpoint is on the older generation or watching the new guys. But
He's
I did have
a guy that a lot of the younger generation will know. They play the junior grades down here for the Tommy Bishop Shield.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Tommy Bishop Shield. I love that halves pairing there. You go into the front row, Dane Sorensen, Andrew Fafita. Those two guys, I had them top two on my board. They are top two dangerous men in the world. That is absolutely for sure. And if we're in a battle with the Guru, I know who's scoring the game winning try. Andrew Fafita. You can't stop him. What's that?
Gavin Miller's scoring it, mate.
No, that's not Andrew Fafita, unfortunately for you, sir. In the number 9, you've got Michael Ennis. This was the big pick that I knew that I need to make really, really early. The Sharkies don't really have a great deal of depth in the 9th department, similar to the Titans, actually, fun fact. But yeah, Michael Ennis is just... I'd actually nearly say the Titans have more. Depth in the hooker department. But yeah, Mick Ennis, just a winner, man, and got to the Doggies, 2 grand finals, got the Sharkies to win the grand final in 2016. Was a part of the Broncos, was just a winner, man. So I love him. Then you go to the back row, a couple of relatively new guys here, especially Britton Nakora. Britton Nakora and Wade Graham is the back row. Really, really love that back row there. Do think the Guru probably beats me out in the back row department, but those two guys there, beautiful. And then Tefeta Nakau is the lock, just really ripping and tearing from the 13. You go onto the bench, Benny Barber. What a player Benny Barber was. Part of the 2016 Premiership winning team, and obviously was, just an absolute killer at the Doggies before coming over. So love Ben Barber to that 14. You got Les Davidson, Luke Douglas, Anthony Tupou on the bench with Shane Flano as the coach, who did win the Premiership in 2016. But don't look at him now because he's at the Dragons, Sharkies' hands. I know. But he won the Premiership with you, so you must love him. But there we go. All right. Well, so what do you think of the two teams? Do you think? Where do you think you win out, and where do you think you potentially lose out?
Oh, mate, I think it's very bold of you to have the coach who's literally the favourite to win a wooden spoon this year.
Oh, here we go.
He's a lot about him, to be honest with you, compared to my coach who's, obviously...
Quick question in regards to Jack Gibson. How many premierships with the Sharkies did he win?
He didn't win any with the Sharks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But, mate, as you know with my team, I'm not picking it on Shark success. So I hope that's loud and fucking clear to everyone. But yeah, no, mate, I think I personally think that back row will be interesting. I think that my back row is better, but most of the guys in my back row, people aren't going to fucking know. And the guys you've picked are very, very talented back rowers who are very well known at the moment. So I think it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. And I honestly think what will decide this draft is just how people recognize how
different perspectives,
if they appreciate it or not, which in other drafts they have. But as I said, I'm more nervous about this one than any of the other ones before.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, we'll quickly go through, before we jump off here, we'll quickly go through the players that didn't miss out that I had on my board here. I did have Joshy Dugan in the centres. That was a potential as well, alongside Benny Pomeroy. Did have Jesse Ramian and also Mark McGaw. So there was a couple of guys that missed out. What was that?
Mark McGaw. That would have been a great one.
Yeah, no, he's solid player there. In the fullback, there was only one fullback that missed. I had David Peachy, Benny Barber, Valentine Holmes, and Preston Campbell there. But Mick Mullane Jr. was another guy from back in the day who could have gone into that fullback spot. But I do think the 4 best fullbacks off the board. I did have, in the hooker department, there was Dean Tristar, Ron Turner, and then Blake Brayley. So, these guys have done a job for the club. But with that being said, there's a reason why we were saying, the lack of depth in that position.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Into the back row, there was a bit of Jason Bakuya, a bit of Fijian talent there. David Hatch, who was a part of the older generation. And then Sean Ryan. Kurt Capewell was another one that I kind of picked out there, who used to play the Sharkies before the Panthers, and then Broncos and now the Warriors. So,
yeah, the other one in the second row that I had on my board, I didn't end up taking him, but I would have been more than happy to, was the late Lance Thompson.
Yeah, Lance Thompson. Yeah. yeah. Lance Thompson was... What a phenomenal player. Then you go to the front row. You got Danny Lee, Kate Snowden. Benny Ross was one that I loved growing up. I thought he was just a tough player, Benjamin Ross. And then Cliff Watson as well were 4 guys there. I actually had Danny Lee in third, so I'm surprised I didn't take him, but I took Les Davidson over him, to be completely honest with you. And then in the locks department, you got Kurt Sorensen and also David Hatch. One that missed out in the 6 was Adam Dykes.
Yep.
And then in the halfback was Paul Green, obviously the late Paul Green, who played for the Cowboys and for the Sharkies. He was a guy that if I didn't get Bishop or Kamali, you probably would have had to look towards Paul Green or Nico Hines, I guess. Yep. And then the final guys here on the wings, Sasai Feki in that 2016 season, Ray Corcoran, Steve Edmonds, Ronaldo Mulatalo for them now, and also Sione Katoa, 2 guys that are in the team right now that I think that are machines, just need the Sharkies do better this year. But yeah, I think that we did pretty well though. I think everyone here selected was pretty good. So appreciate you for coming on, Guru. Hopefully I can sneak it this time, mate. You've been the thorn in my side. I need to make my mum proud with her Sharkies team. Obviously let everyone know where they can find you again.
Yeah, mate, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, podcast, YouTube, everywhere you will try and find rugby league content, you'll find me there. And, mate, I believe I will actually be seeing you in a few weeks. I'm going to come down.
You can be there.
Yeah, I'll come down and say hello. So, yeah, keen to come up.
We'll get you on the commentary for about a couple of minutes stretch because myself and Clarkie will be commentating, so it's going to be good. So guys, obviously it's great the Guru's brought that up. That'll be in the description below. Jump on and grab your tickets, and also I think if the stream link will be up, then I'll put it in there as well. So it should be a great event. Obviously the Guru, a big part of it as well. And it's a great time with all different content creators and fans of the game to kind of hype us up for the NRL season. But there we go, guys. We are wrapped up for today. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See you.